Hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to another episode. Today, we're diving into a topic that touches everyone, no matter who you are or where you're from: fear. Fear is a universal experience. It can protect us, but it can also hold us back. Today, we'll explore what fear is, why we experience it, and how we can not only cope with it, but also transform it into a tool of growth. I'll share practical techniques from calming breathing experiences to playful strategies like turning fear into absurdity. We'll even dive into why facing your fears step by step is one of the most effective ways to overcome them. So take a deep breath, settle in, and let's begin. Why is fear and why do you feel it? Fear is an ancient primal response. Our ancestors needed it to survive. When they heard the rustle of a predator in the bushes, fear would kick in, activating the body's fight-or-flight system. This survival mechanism releases adrenaline and cortisol, preparing the body to respond to danger. But in modern life, the things we fear aren't always life-threatening. Fear of public speaking, fear of failure, or fear of rejection can feel just as intense even though they don't pose a physical threat. The key to managing fear is understanding its purpose and learning how to respond to it, rather than letting it control us. Common types of fear. Let's take a moment to identify some common fears. You might recognize your own in this list. Fear of failure. Why if I try and I'm not good enough? Fear of rejection. What if they don't expect me? Fear of uncertainty. Why if I don't know what's coming next? Phobias. Fear of specific things like heights, spiders, or flying. Social fear. What if I embarrass myself in front of others? Fear of change. What if I can't adapt? These fears are valid and common, but they don't have to define us. Let's explore how we can start to overcome them. Techniques to overcome fear. Number 1. Breathing exercises to calm the mind and body. Fear triggers a physical response in our body. One of the quickest ways to interrupt this response is through deep, mindful breathing. Let's practice a simple but powerful technique. 4-7-8 breathing technique. Number 1. Exhale deeply through your nose for count 4. Number 2. Hold your breath for a count of 7. Inhale slowly for a count of 8. Repeat this cycle 4-5 times. This technique slows your heart rate, calms your mind, and reduces the physical symptoms of fear like a racing heart or shallow breathing. It's a great tool for moments when fear feels overwhelming. Number 2. Turning fear into absurdity exercise. Face your fear with a logical approach. This simple but powerful exercise will help you analyze your fear and see it for what it really is. All you need is a piece of paper and pen. This technique is called mapping the fear. It's an effective way to take control of your thoughts and stop them from spiraling out of control. Step 1. Write down your fear. Take your piece of paper and write your fear in the center. For example, if I don't get a job, or if I don't get a promotion, what if I fail my exam? Choose one specific fear that's been bothering you. Step 2. Create 2 outcomes. Now draw 2 arrows from your fear. The arrow pointing to the right represents a positive outcome. The arrow pointing to the left represents a negative outcome. Step 3. Analyze each outcome. Under each arrow, start listening possible scenarios. For example, if the fear is, what if I fail my exam? Under the negative outcome, you might write, my parents will be upset with me, I might get expelled from the university, I'll have to take a low-paying job, I'll earn less money for a while, and etc. Keep going until you can't come up with more scenarios. Even if you take it to an extreme or absurd level, you'll notice one thing. None of these results mean the end of your life. Now, under the positive outcome, you might write, I'll pass the exam, I'll feel pride of myself, I'll move closer to my goals, I'll open new opportunities for my future, so on, so on. As you write, you'll notice that in both cases, whether things go well or not, you're still alive, still capable of continuing and still able to make changes. Step number 4. Accept the two final outcomes. At the end of each column, you'll see there are only two possible outcomes. Positive case, you succeed and move forward. Negative case, you don't succeed, but you survive and can try again. Either way, you remain intact. You are not destroyed by this fear. Step 5. Face your fear with confidence. Now that you've logically mapped out your fear, it's time to take action. Face it head-on with the understanding that the worst-case scenario is not the end of your life. Your fear no longer has the power to paralyze you because you've seen it for what it is, a temporary obstacle, not an unchangeable fate. So hit your fear with all your strengths. Believe in the best outcome, but don't forget to prepare yourself and work hard for success. Most importantly, stop overthinking. You've got this. Number 3. Gradual exposure to fear. Sometimes the only way to conquer fear is to face it, but you don't have to dive in head first. Gradual exposure is a technique where you face your fear in small, manageable steps. For example, if you're afraid of heights, you might start by standing on a low platform. Next, you could climb a slightly taller set of stairs. Over time, you build up to something bigger, like looking out from a tall building. Each step helps you build confidence and reduces the intensity of the fear. The more you face your fear in controlled situations, the less power it holds over you. Number 4. Name your fear. One simple but effective strategy is to name your fear. When we don't name our emotions, they can feel overwhelming and vague. For instance, instead of saying, I'm scared, try saying, I'm afraid of failing this exam because I think I'm not prepared. By naming the fear, you make it specific and manageable. It's easier to tackle a clearly defined problem than a vague sense of dread. Number 5. The power of reframing. Fear often comes from the stories we tell ourselves. If you catch yourself thinking negative or catastrophic thoughts, try reframing them. Here is an example. Fear. If I fail this presentation, everyone will think I am useful. Reframe. If I make mistakes, it's a chance to learn and improve. Everyone makes mistakes sometimes. Reframing doesn't erase fear, but it helps you see it in a more balanced way. Why fear can be a teacher? While fear can feel overwhelming, it also has a purpose. It teaches us about our limits, our desires, and our values. For example, fear of failure might show that you care deeply about succeeding. Fear of rejection might reflect how much you value connection and acceptance. When we view fear as a teacher rather than an enemy, we can use it as a tool for self-discovery and growth. And final, fear is something we all experience, but it doesn't have to control us. With tools like deep breathing, reframing, and even a bit of humor, we can face our fears and come out stronger on the other side. Remember, you are not alone in your struggles, and you are stronger than you think. If you have your own tips or stories about overcoming fear, share them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you and learn together. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Until next time, take care, stay brave, and remember, you have the power to rise above your fears.